Hello and welcome to Copytraders Club, where you can learn how to make more money copy trading. I am Gavin McCauley, my name and username on eToro. This is a conversation episode with someone who probably represents the majority of copy traders, young, relatively inexperienced, and learning by doing, with some mistakes along the way. In our chat, we discuss all things copy trading, including common incorrect assumptions copy traders make. Plus, we dip into graphic design, caterpillars, and classic Arnie movies. Here we go. Episode 7, and I'm speaking to you here from the top of the steps at the grand entrance to the Copytraders Clubhouse, where I'm awaiting the arrival of today's guest, Stephen Steels, the man behind the YouTube channel Moth Copytrading. There he is now, big bushy beard glinting in the sunlight. Stephen, you're very welcome to Copytraders Club.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me here.
We're looking forward to chatting to you. But before we proceed to the VIP lounge, as a guest, you need to be signed in, and that is done by answering a series of quickfire questions. Ready for those?
Yep, let's go.
Username on eToro.
Moth with a hyphen at the start and the end.
Date you joined eToro.
14th of January, 2020.
Year of birth.
3rd of March, 1988.
Marital status.
Engaged.
Kids.
Not just yet.
Location.
Bournemouth, United Kingdom.
Profession.
Business Development Manager.
Name one of your investing heroes.
J Nemesis.
Name one of your favourite investing books.
Not applicable.
That completes the formalities. Let's proceed into our VIP section here at the clubhouse. Past the fountain where hope springs eternal, Stephen Steels, aka Moth Copytrading, are you ready for this magical transition?
I am. Let's go.
So, Stephen, sit back, relax, and enjoy the lounge.
Definitely.
Now, you're a copy trader, and you show your journey on YouTube. Tell us how that started.
So I started in 2019, about Aprilish 2019. And, I wanted to get into trading. You see all the people in the films. It's like, oh, I'm a trader and I've made millions and on all the adverts and things like that. So I thought, right, I actually want to get into trading. Let's see if I can make some money. So 2019 in April, I found an app called eToro. So I thought, yeah, this is pretty cool. We're going to go ahead with this one. And I was the victim of leverage. So I used a lot of leverage on a lot of different stocks and I lost a lot of money. Was it $13,000 in the space of 8 months? So that's what got me into trading. And I guess to a lot of people, that should be the thing that sort of gets them out of copy trading as well. Not copy trading, sorry, just trading in general. But, I saw the potential of copy trading on eToro. And I knew it at the start, but I was just too ignorant and sort of greedy. So I never used it. I mean, I used it a little bit with J Nemesis and a few other people, and they was making some nice money, but I thought, I can do more than that myself. I'll put on ×5 leverage on Tesla and all these other things. So yeah, that didn't end very well, but I thought 2020, January, a nice fresh new year. We'll start copy trading now. We'll start a YouTube channel and we just go from there.
Yeah, just today I watched the video that you're referring to where you talk about losing 13 grand. And, it's very emotional the way you're talking about the whole process and the spiral, throwing good money after bad. So I guess copy trading is your way of moving away from the high risk world of trading into something that's a bit more sedate, a bit more manageable?
Yeah, because after 8 months of a spiral, as you say, and this is totally true. Like in the video, I was very emotional. I was wearing my heart on my sleeve, mainly to sort of get the point across that don't do this.
So that set you off on a mission to become a copy trader and to then document your copy trading journey on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly that. As I said, I saw the potential in copy trading, how much money it could make people, and I decided to put both feet first. I have a sort of idea that I'm going to be copy trading, for the rest of my life. It's definitely going to be a slow burner thing. You can't make a lot of money overnight, or at least in a risk-free kind of way. And that was my issue before in 2019 with the 8 months. I thought, I can just make loads of money really quickly. I could maybe even scalp the markets, just get in and out real quick and use high leverage. But that obviously that didn't work. And, it's not really the best thing to do anyway. It's very risky. But copy trading seems to be the way forward. A nice slow burner.
I think you represent a far greater proportion of copy traders than people might realize. Young, relatively new, and learning by doing. Is that fair to say?
That's absolutely fair to say. I mean, I think that's one of the main differences between myself and people like Felix Falix, or maybe even Social Trading Vlog. I know from Social Trading Vlog or Thomas's videos that he doesn't necessarily claim to be a professional trader. So in a way, he's kind of like me in that sense, but he also brings a lot of tips and guides in regards to trading solo as opposed to copy trading. And obviously with Felix Falix, and yes, we have mentioned him again in another video. Can't go a video without saying Felix Falix.
Well, you're right that there are two types of content provider, if you'll forgive me for using that term. The expert is one. Like in England, you have that guy, Joe Wicks, showing everyone how to exercise, right? And the other type is the guide, someone who's not an expert, but learning as they go, and others are invited along. So neither of us claim to be experts. We both acknowledge we have a lot to learn. And so mistakes are going to be made along the way. But we can point out things that we learn along the way, and that can be very useful to the viewer in your case or the listener in mine. But you're very much like an open book, and you're willing to show your confusion and misunderstandings in real time sometimes on your videos. That's incredibly refreshing in an arena where everyone likes to be seen as super smart and knowledgeable and expert.
And I appreciate what you're saying about the honesty and the open book elements that you was just referring to. I actually have something that I've been meaning to get off my chest about, what started me getting into copy trading and the videos, more specifically, creating the YouTube channel. So this is going to be a Copy Traders Club exclusive. So originally my goal was to attract enough copiers to the point that eToro would start paying me. Eventually leading to the top tier, maybe like a green star. At the time, there was only green star. It didn't have a black star. So eventually eToro would pay you 2% AUM per year. Basically recreating what Thomas from Social Trading Vlog was doing. But between 2016 and 2019, he had only made profit for one of those years, which was 2017. Yet he had more than 10 copiers and became a PI. And was temporarily getting payment from eToro. I think he was getting $500 per month, and I believe it might have gone up to $1,000 as well when he reached the next, the next tier, so to speak. So I thought if I can recreate a fraction of the online presence he had, because I know he's a very charismatic person, he's very likable. He's got the Malta backgrounds and stuff. So in no way was I trying to sort of be him. But if I could create a fraction of what he had, but make larger gains, or rather just be in the green per year, which I believe I could do by picking who I consider to be the right people, then I could make this a career. However, eToro very shortly cut that dream short. About a month after my YouTube channel started, decided to change the rules on us. Well, the rules on us copy traders, because we could no longer be PIs with the payment features. They decided to sort of cut that short. They said, we're only going to pay you if, you trade manual trades. you can't be a copy trader and get paid. So they sort of killed that plan for me. However, I feel like despite making me some money, it might have made me seem disingenuous to sort of carry on with that route. So I'm actually glad that things turned out how they did, because I would have felt a bit dirty and a bit misleading at the back of my mind that I'm doing this for like an unworthy cause. So I'm happy how things have turned out the way they did, and I feel now I'm part of a community, and I'm being open and honest with the things that I learn, the things that I say. I try and help the people out. I've got no financial, incentive anymore. And I think that's a good thing, because I can just be one of the people now and let the people know, help my fellow traders out. Nothing more and nothing less.
Very good. Well spoken. Well, Copytraders Club isn't an exclusive club for people with all the answers, right? It's for people with all the questions too. And I have far more questions than answers at this stage. And I do have some questions for you. So you do marketing and make YouTube videos for a living, don't you?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, it shows. They're very slick and nicely branded and everything. Your visuals are very good. And I don't mean that big grey jumper that you wear.
Thank you. I specialize in graphic design and generally anything visual. So, when I started my YouTube account, I thought this would be a good time to apply some of this, with the thumbnails and the video quality, the color grading and the little animations and such. So it just kind of all works out very nicely. And speaking of graphic design, I have a little surprise for you.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're starting to connect the dots. All right, so I actually need to send you this, so at least you know what it is now. Let's see. So I've just sent you an email. If you have a look at that and express your your surprise.
Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm opening your email now. Oh, nice. That's an alternative logo for the Copytraders Club.
Basically, what it is for the listener, that is an alternative logo that I've created. And I've just sent that to Gavin. He's just had a look at it. I mean, it's a present in a way, like a thank you present for sort of inviting me on here in one of the ways that I know how to say thank you with my sort of skills of graphic design and logo creation. So I don't expect you to necessarily use this, but I just thought it'd be a nice gesture. And, it's the thought that counts, isn't it?
Well, I am deeply touched. It's very cool. It's a great logo. It's more young and sort of gamerish looking than mine, which is quite austere and kind of serious. I think what I was going for was the sort of idea of the Copytraders Club being like a private members club, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I can see that.
This looks like a club for young, cool millennials, and I'm definitely not in that category. But yeah, I'll tell you what, when this goes out on YouTube, this episode, this will be the logo that is shown.
Oh, thank you.
So the listener can see it there. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much. That's cool.
That's no worries.
That's a very nice surprise. Okay, moving on. What's your favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? And why do I ask?
You asked because of all the posters in the background. Yeah, I would say definitely Terminator 2. I think Terminator 2 is one of the best movies ever. It still holds up to this day, in my opinion. I absolutely love that film. I mean, it wasn't supposed to be an Arnold Schwarzenegger shrine behind me, but it's obviously turned out that way. I do like him, though. He's like one of my favorite people.
Yeah, I would have to go for Total Recall or The Running Man myself.
Those are very good classics as well. Those are very good options.
And why do you call your channel Moth Copytrading?
So Moth is sort of my default username in a sense. So, whenever I create a username for a website, or I just put it everywhere, basically. It's like my default username. But the reason why, so I was raised in a religious household. And to this point, I see myself as a spiritual person. Moth to me not only signifies sort of like an outcast or a less appealing version of a butterfly in comparison. The other thing is that they're attracted to the light. So even if say it's an open flame, they would just go towards it and sort of burn up, accidentally sacrificing themselves almost. And I feel this analogy works well with me, my borderline outcast background, sort of being unpopular and bullied in school and stuff, which is where it sort of originated. But also that I'm attracted to the light, attracted to the sort of higher powers that be, if you will. You know, some people call it God, some people call it something else, but I believe there's something higher, like an energy, some sort of divine essence that I believe in. And I sort of feel like it all goes hand in hand. So like a moth to the flame, I go towards it at all costs.
Wow, I wasn't expecting such a full answer. You know, I learned a lot recently about moths because we found a couple of hawk moth caterpillars in our garden a couple of months ago. And they have this ability to ward off predators by inflating the whole forward section of their body into what looks exactly like the head of a snake.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Yeah, this big, flattish, diamond-shaped head with big black eyes, and even down to having white spots at the top of the eyes that look like reflections of the sun. It's unbelievable. Wow. I'll leave a link to it in the show notes. You won't believe it. And it has no idea it's mimicking a snake, of course, this caterpillar. It just reacts chemically to some threat. And this is what happens. The hawk moth caterpillar. Now let's pop over to your bio, have a quick look at that. Here we go. I'm looking at your bio. Minimum copy amount for me. Yes, I notice you do have 4 copiers. And where did I see the assets under management is like between 50 and 100,000. That's quite a lot. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, the most stressful part was when I got my first copier. Because as I said, the whole reason why I wanted to do this in the beginning was to sort of, make money. So I was kind of anticipating copiers. But then when it all changed and my mindset changed, it totally went off my radar. I forgot all about copiers. I thought, well, no one's going to copy me. That was just totally out of my mind. I didn't even think about it. So when I got one, this real physical pressure and stress just came over me like, oh my goodness, that people is entrusting their money onto me, even though I'm sort of copying people. So it's not as, intense as if I was trading myself, but it's still responsibility and it's still sort of pressure.
Is there though? I mean, there shouldn't be really. You're just doing your own thing. You're not seeking copiers. You've no responsibility to anybody else. They must know that. They're the guy standing behind you at the blackjack table.
Yeah.
Betting on what you do. So, if you blow it and they blow it, too bad.
I still need to look out for them though as well. I mean, yeah, typically it would be nice if it was just me and I could make decisions sort of willy-nilly. But I mean, I've got a guy called Jazzy128 at the moment who I feel like we've got a good sort of mutual respect for and a good rapport. We've had a few email conversations back and forth. But out of my 25 top people, he's currently one of the lowest. And it's just a bit alarming. At the moment, he's minus almost 8%, whereas everyone else is, I think there's 3 people in the red and everyone else is in the green at the moment. So even though I really like the guy, I was having a sort of moment where it's like, oh, for the copier's sake, and even probably a bit of my own sake, should I make a decision? Should I swap him out for someone else? I mean, was he the right trader for me in the first place? Sort of having these moments.
I don't think you should be feeling any pressure whatsoever from the fact that people want to copy you, because you're not actively seeking them. You've no dog in the fight. You're just doing your own thing, and if people want to piggyback, that's up to them. But your decisions have to be your decisions for you. Yeah.
I mean, I wish that could be the way. I'd love to just turn that switch off in my mind, but I don't know. I'm very sensitive and I'm sort of give in to pressure easily.
Maybe you're a nicer person than I am. But I certainly wouldn't be concerned. If anyone, I mean, I don't have any copiers. I'm not seeking them, and it's not going to affect me one way or the other if I do.
But I mean, that's what I thought, that, it's not going to matter. I'm the one sort of leading the thing. When it actually happened, it's like, it sunk in, the reality.
Okay, maybe. Okay, so let's look at some more of your stats here. 2020, your annual return was 17.76.
Yep.
And 2021, so far, you're at 6.29 at the time of recording. So your best run of months was November, December, January, February, with sort of 8, 3, 5, 3. Pretty healthy months there. Your average risk score is 5 in the last 7 days. And if you look at the last 12 months, it's like a stairway going up. First 3 months were average risk 1, and then 2, and then 3, 3, 3, now 4, 4, 4, 4 touching 5 max risk. So that's something to consider.
Yeah.
Whether it feels like you're taking more risk or not, that's what this is telling you. And I know that the stats on the face of it aren't the end of the story.
Yeah, so the reason why the first 6 months, I mean, you said 3, but when you look at the stat graph, the first 6 months are very drastic in comparison to the last 6 months of 2020. The reason why that is because I was copying Olivier Danville only for the first 6 months. So my stats were very, very low, not super high, but again, not in the red. So the first 6 months is basically as if Olivier Danville's just doing it. And then I thought, right, I'm going to get J Nemesis on board. So in July, I started getting J Nemesis, added a few more people. So, I mean, yeah, it's a bit more riskier in regards to the height of the green bars. If you was to compare the last 6 months and the first 6 months, and you got 2 reds in there as well. But I feel it's going in the right direction now. It's good to have a little bit of risk. I think it's going to pay off.
Sure. You went from blowing all your money, which was credit card money, to copying Olivier Danville, which is quite a jump.
Yeah.
One is a reaction to the other.
Yeah.
And then you must have got tired of the 0.2, 0.1 monthly returns.
Exactly.
That I'm looking at on your chart here.
I did, yeah.
Everybody has a different objective on eToro. You know, the whole purpose of Copytraders Club is I want to learn about different strategies and approaches and how to avoid pitfalls and all that stuff. But it all starts with, what do you want out of eToro? What do you want from this account? And the answer to that question can be hugely different for different people. You know, for some, it's all about preserving this big pot of cash that they have. For others, it's, I want to put in a couple of hundred every month and build it up for the next 20 years, you know, and then there's everything in between that. So there's got to be people for everyone.
And I think Olivier Danville would be a good choice. Like, if I had $1 million and I thought, well, I'm happy with that. I don't want to risk loads of it. I just want a little bit of growth.
Well, as I saw in one of your recent videos, you noted that Olivier has over 3 million followers or something on eToro, which is like way more than just about anyone, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it was 3.3 million, and I was even in the video, I was like, hold on, let me check J Nemesis, because surely J Nemesis has got more. And J Nemesis has like 1.4 million. So it's double. It's over double.
But fewer copiers.
The copiers, yeah, J Nemesis definitely in the lead with the copiers, but just the pure followers, double J Nemesis. It's unreal.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people interested in what Olivier has to bring.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, maybe they're not. So, I mean, the copiers amount is down compared to J Nemesis, but maybe they've got more money. The AUM's bigger. I don't know.
Okay, let's move on. 2 months average holding time. That looks like a bit of a red flag to me. So far on my journey, talking to people, the one piece of advice that keeps coming up is hold on for a long time, you know, and you see that all the time with the popular investors. Invest for a minimum period of 6 to 12 months or something like that. Nobody has said to me yet that here's a really good way of making money in eToro. jump around as much as possible between PIs. Can you tell me that that's a good policy?
No, I mean, I don't think it is to sort of jump around as much as I am. Ideally, if I had the money, I just want to put it all on my top people and just leave it and not do any jumping. But I feel, as you know, I'm constantly looking at the new people in the copy people tab who could be maybe a better option. Look at all the, the drawdowns and the stats, look at how they talk to the community. Look, I try and take everything into account. And if there's someone, so as I said, I don't have much money. So, I mean, I can't copy everyone, but, it's tricky.
That's one of the things about eToro is, it's like you're like a kid in a candy store. There's so many temptations.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
You always want what you have not got. In some ways, I think once you've decided on your people, you're better off just not looking through every PI and getting distracted.
Yeah, that's a good bit of advice. I'll take that on.
Well, I'm not giving advice. There's none of this is financial advice. Yeah. It's for entertainment only.
Yes.
I don't know your individual circumstances.
Sorry.
Well, I'm no one to give advice. I've only been on the platform a few months. What do I know?
No, but it is a good point that I might consider then.
So as we're discussing your strategy, you're 100% a copy trader.
Yes.
You don't own any individual stocks anymore. How many PIs do you have at the moment?
It's just 3 at the moment. It probably would have been a few more, but since eToro's brought this minimum $500 copy amount, it's just 3 at the moment.
And your main man is none other than J Nemesis?
Indeed.
I mean, he's the undisputed king of eToro. But he wasn't when you met him or when you found him?
Well, in my opinion, no, because I didn't know too much about eToro. I didn't know that he was this guy that that everyone knows and loves. I just thought, J Nemesis, that's an interesting name. Let's give him a go. And he started making loads of money in real time for me on my real account. But I was stupid and greedy. I kept closing it, thinking, I've just banked that money. Let's do it again. Let's put money somewhere else. Just being an absolute idiot. But he definitely, every time that I copied him during my stupid 8 months phase in 2019, he was always doing me proud. So his name just stuck out to me. And now he's, as you say, the undisputed king.
Hey, hope you're enjoying today's show. I'm sure you've subscribed already. If you're a successful copy trader, happy to share what you've learned. There's no need to have a public profile. Please get in touch. Otherwise, listener, the bigger the club, the better for you. So tell people on eToro about this show. Ask your PIs to come on. That way you will get to know them better. We build this club together. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the content of your videos.
Okay.
You love to create projects like your PI deep dives.
Mm-hmm.
I note that these projects of yours are evolving as you grow. So there may come a time when you know a lot more and you look back at them and see holes in them. But fair play to you for giving it a crack. As I say, I too have a lot to learn about eToro. And I wouldn't have the balls to try and create these experiments or assessments until I know for sure that I know everything inside out. So I admire your testicular fortitude.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, maybe I should have known everything before I start doing these things.
What I like about your deep dives is the fact that you're coming from a place where you blew loads of cash because, as you say in your video, you didn't know what you were doing and you had no real strategy. It was willy-nilly and you paid the price. And now you're trying to create a framework for success. And you're trying to avoid choosing PIs willy-nilly. You want to subject them to some sort of personal testing mechanism. So that's very smart that you do that. But of course, it's very much designed for you and it is based upon what you know right now. And that might change over time. Both of those things might change over time, what your objectives are. And then as you discover more and more about the platform and about investing, some things you might want to tweak. All right. And in fact, there's one of the elements of your deep dives that I want to do a deep dive on, if that's not too meta. So on your PI deep dives, you give them marks out of 10 for the various elements that you think are important. Those elements are social informative, statistics, portfolio quantity, risk management, drawdown, affordability, and synchronization. Now, as I say, I applaud you for striving to create a framework to allow you to compare and contrast PIs. It's not easy to gauge them without one. So some of those things that I just listed are factual assessments, like how many posts do they do a month? That comes into the social informative thing. Are they affordable to everyone? That's a factual point. And are they currently in sync? Again, that's a factual point. You look into it. Will I be in sync with this guy or girl if I start copying them now? But some of the things that you list are more opinion-based, even though they might appear factual. So, can we talk about portfolio quantity?
Yeah, of course.
I would like to conduct a little thought experiment here to see if we can challenge that theory that the more the better.
Okay.
So, Stephen, an evil presence has come into your life and wants to test your friendships. An offer is going to be made to your friends. They will receive £10,000, but if they accept it, it means you will suffer back pain for a year. You won't be sleeping well, you'll be popping ibuprofen, never getting comfortable. Not nice. Now, this test will be administered 25 times. But you can choose how many of your friends to put forward for the test. Okay, you can choose your best friend to be tested 25 times, or you can choose your 25 best friends, or any number in between. What are your initial thoughts about that?
Don't know. It's a very strange thing to happen.
Okay, well, let's go through the options, right? You say the more the merrier. Let's take the more the merrier answer.
Yeah.
You write down a list of your 25 best friends in the world. Is that an easy thing to do?
No, I don't have that many friends.
Right. Nobody does. So, if you had a list of 25 people, how well would you know the 24th? That's the question. Do you know if they're suffering from financial difficulties, mortgage arrears, or credit card debt, or anything like that?
Yeah.
Probably not.
I see where you're going.
Okay. Do you really know how much they like you, even? You know, these people that you sort of think of as friends. There could be some smoldering resentment from that house party 6 years ago where you got off with someone they fancied. So that's the danger of the more the merrier approach there. So let's go to the other extreme, right? You choose just your best friend. You have someone in mind?
Yes.
Imagine they were being offered £250,000. That's pretty tempting, you know.
Yeah.
1 year of back pain isn't so bad, they might start thinking, even if they're very close to you. How about your best 5 friends or your best 10, right? You know them pretty well. They do like you. You would know if they had any major financial woes.
Yeah.
They aren't going to make you suffer pain for a whole year for a mere 25 grand or something. Not if they're real friends, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, in case it isn't painfully obvious, the experiment showed that maybe it is what you know about your picks that is more important than the sheer quantity of them, for the sake of quantity. With stocks, as with your friends, if you know your stocks, your businesses behind those stocks well enough, you can have a higher conviction that they will come good and not let you down. Too many and too few can be risky.
Yeah, I agree. The thing is, though, that, I mean, you can't predict what the stock's going to do, even if you do know it inside out.
We're dealing with future events and the world of business, and nobody has a crystal ball. But these are educated positions that you take. And, if a PI has 75 stocks, how much does he really know about stock number 72 or 64 or 58? Isn't there an increased chance that they will let him down compared with a guy who's got 10 and has researched them inside out and is staying on top of every bit of news, and he has formulated a thesis on how the investment's going to go and is tracking them all the time, monitoring progress of the thesis?
Yeah, quite possibly.
Like, which sounds riskier to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. I never claim to have all the answers. As you said, like, I'm always going to sort of keep tweaking my deep dives, and I have tweaked the synchronization part probably like 3 or 4 times. So, for example, Samo Seiking only has between 5 to 12 stocks, and I know that's his style is a very concentrated style because of the few that he has. So I know that as an example, and that's definitely. I mean, when I first saw his few stocks, it was 10 at the time, I think. I was like, oh my goodness, like this guy, because I thought, oh, you need at least 50, you need at least 30, you need a high number. So when I saw he had 10, I was like, oh no, that's not good. But I started reading the bio. I started listening to other people saying, sort of picking him up in a sense, saying, he's got a concentrated style. He's sort of, he's not got too many to look out for. He's not going to get lost in the numbers of the assets that he's got. He can see them all and he knows them all inside out. So that is definitely something for me to look into, maybe even do an experiment of some sorts, maybe do a virtual portfolio of Samo Seiking versus someone with like 100 assets or something. I might need to tweak my deep dive in reflection of what you're saying. So maybe it's not a case of more is better. So I need to sort of test that a bit more, or at least research into it a bit more.
And of course, there are people who only deal in 1 or 2 instruments. That's exactly what they do, like volatility traders or, some currency traders, people who aren't stocks guys.
Oh, really?
You can't automatically give them 1 point, even though they will never go above 5 assets. One of my PIs is a guy called Elite Vol, and he just trades volatility in the market. And you do that with 2 assets. That's what he does. That's his game. And some of these guys do very well in terms of profits.
Yeah, I did have a look at your stats. I see that Samo Seiking was did very well for you this year. So I see you had 95% in January. And I was looking at your stats earlier and I was like, wow, it's like 30% already. But I sort of worked out that he had sort of helped out a bit. So it can definitely pay off. And it's definitely something for me to look into. Definitely something to spend some more time on and research. So thank you for bringing that to my attention.
No worries, we're all learning. And you provide a useful service to people who watch your videos, because you might be introducing new ideas to them that they too had maybe misunderstood in the past. Let's talk about your videos on synchronization and copy amount, because they're points that come up a lot. Tell us about the frustrations that you've experienced with those 2 issues.
So the synchronization thing, Jazzy128 and I had an email chain back and forth where we both learned something from each other. So at the time, he thought that when someone copy trades, that they copy the value percentage, when it's in fact the invested percentage. And he wasn't aware of that. And he found out when I was bringing examples, questioning the synchronization, how it's not that important. Oh, no, sorry. No, I tell a lie. We was actually discussing the compounding. He brought me to the idea of what compounding interest was. So I had no idea, because I was saying, well, J Nemesis closes and opens trades a lot. So that's actually better than someone holding a stock for a year. Because you're not getting that gains back. It's not being reinvested into other stocks and then closed and then reinvesting and having a snowball effect. And he actually, told me that eToro uses compound interest. At the time, I didn't even know what compounding was. So now, as a result of that conversation, I thought, oh, okay.
And then you discovered websites that do compound interest calculating.
Yeah.
And this was your new toy.
Yeah.
And you made this video, which caused a bit of a stir. Tell us about that.
I found the website that can basically project forward using a compound interest calculator. And I thought, this would be quite interesting. So I thought, out of curiosity, if I was going to do an average of 30% a year gains, which is what I believe I can do, and, putting in my $800 per year, which is what I plan to do, it's $200 every quarter, and just see, get a rough idea of when and if I can become a millionaire in my lifetime. So after that video, and I said about the 30% average gains per year for 35 years, yeah, I got a lot of backlash. There was a lot of people sort of laughing and, you're not going to make 30% a year for 35 years. And one person in particular calling the process or the idea of what I was trying to do idiotic. Even Felix Falix stepped in, but he was a good sport about it. And actually, because of Felix Falix's persistence in the comments, he's actually brought it to my attention that 2020 was actually it was a 50% gain for the NASDAQ, or approximately 50%, when it's usually about 10%. I was unaware of this, and I held my hands up and said, I'm sorry, Felix Falix, I had no idea. I'm actually going to sort of rectify this now. So the video where I had a little moan is actually sort of taken off now. It's no longer there because he was right. In essence, like, not about all of it, I'd say, because I still believe I can make 30% a year, but again, it's off like ghost data. So, I mean, it's nothing that we can prove with stats and figures. It's just like a gut feeling. And, I was being borderline bitchy. I'd just woken up at 5 a.m. I saw all these comments like, right, that's it. I'm making a video. Even though I'm half asleep, I'm going to get a coffee. I'm going to have a moan. But I mean, yeah, sure. If I was based on a lot of people of 2020, they only had 1 year of stats. They only started in 2020. A lot of them was the end of March. So they'd just missed out the big crash. And so as well as using sort of this imaginary ghost data and filling in the blanks, it was only 1 year, and it was a year that NASDAQ was 5 times as high as it should be. So with all of that, I was like, okay, I put out a formal apology on eToro. I tagged Felix Falix, a machine learner, and I said, look, I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have done what I did. You was right.
Well, when people start pointing out that 30% a year for 35 years would make you one of the greatest investors in the history of humankind, that's kind of when you maybe think, oh, perhaps I've over-egged the pudding here, right?
Surprisingly, no, it wasn't that comment or a comment on those lines. I mean, I probably should look into that more, because it seems like when something makes like no sense to me, even though I'm thinking I'm in the right, and people are saying like, 30%, everyone's saying like 30% a year, ha ha ha. And I'm like, no, I'm right. I'm going to make a video showing it. And then I was actually wrong. So I guess, in the same sort of logic as that, yeah, I must be wrong by like process of elimination. If all these people are saying, oh, you'd be the greatest trader of all time if you did that, ha ha ha. So maybe there is something there, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's within the range of possible outcomes that I'm currently talking to one of the world's greatest investors. But I wouldn't assign it too high a probability, to be fair.
Well, I mean, it's not that we're... Because, I mean, I could I could sort of throw you in the mix and say you've just got 30% in 1 month. So, like...
I am one of the greatest investors in the history of humanity. That's the difference.
But, I mean, that's the thing. Like, we're copy traders. We're not one person. If we get all the best aspects of all the best people and put them on an equal percentage, copying them with the equal percentage, I mean, then surely we can make a decent amount of money. Let's say, for sake of argument, between 20 and 30%. Let's bring my 30% down. Let's say 20 to 30%. I'm happy with 20, 30%. Surely that's doable. I mean, if you look at Camper Vans, you look at Jay Nemesis, Wesley, you look at the top 10 most copied people on eToro, that, I'm sure they're... I mean, I know a few of them are averaging 30%, but if you just look at all 10 of them, they've got to be averaging 30% a year.
But the point is, there's a million things that could happen to interrupt that. Some of them might die, they might go mad. There could be a decade of a flat market. You might run into financial difficulties or something and stop being able to put as much money into it as you do. There's all sorts. You can have several down years that set you back to square one. The thought of having consistent over such a long period, such high returns. I mean, I hope it happens, but it's highly unlikely. That's the point, really.
Okay. Well,
let's see. Let's meet back here in 30 years, 35 years.
Yeah.
And we'll do a follow-up. We'll do a follow-up podcast if I'm still alive.
Well, let's say 20 years, because that was the first goal. I mean,
okay.
Let's say 20 years.
All right, it's a deal. It's a deal.
Okay, cool.
So let's talk about some more of the frustrations you experience on the platform. What do you think could be done better for the new user who wants to copy trade?
So I think having more customer service would be a great start. Having a quicker response time and more of it. Maybe some better hardware and software on their end to prevent things like the influx of errors that we've been seeing recently, like the login and stuff like that, where it goes down for 17 hours. So I believe that was to do with too many people joining. All these things to sort of prevent that side of it. Make the eToro as good as it could be. Because I believe in this company, and copytrading is, I love the idea of it.
Yeah, me too.
That I don't have to do much effort and we can make money.
Absolutely.
I want them to do as best as they can.
For sure.
And make everyone happy, make the website really good. Everyone's happy with the customer service and so on. Another thing that I will mention, though, is that I discovered a button the other day that says view all trades, but you can only do it when on someone you're copying. Because basically, you try and figure out what the minimum amount to copy someone is. And you have to sort of click into each parent trade and see what the smallest size is. What I think should happen is that the minimum amount to copy all trades should automatically pop up by default. And then you can change it manually if you want.
Well, I actually had a thought after seeing that I had asked this question. I've just started this podcast. I knew nothing about podcasting a few weeks ago. And I signed up with Buzzsprout to be the podcast host. And as soon as I signed up with them, they greeted me and they said, "Great, you want to start a podcast? Here is our 10 video education series about how to get started and all the things you need to know." And I was like, okay. And I started watching their videos, and literally one by one, they take your hand and they walk you through every single step. And they address every question I had in my head was addressed in each of these videos. And you gain confidence and knowledge and all the rest as you go through that series of educational videos. And I was so impressed with it. By the end of that series, you have to start paying them after a couple of hours of podcasting. But I was delighted to start paying, and I'm so grateful to them. And I think they've been such an amazing help.
Yeah, definitely.
eToro should have something like that, if you ask me. For when you start, welcome. Thanks for signing in. Join the educational series here. Episode 1, Episode 2. Other than having to sort of find your own way around and trial and error and make all these incorrect assumptions, which I think everyone does.
Yeah, I agree. That would be really good.
If they get out in front of incorrect assumptions and they explain what, for example, risk score means, then you're not annoyed when you find out what risk score means.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's different from what you had assumed. Now, nobody's pulling the wool over anyone's eyes here. It's all explained somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just not front and center.
Yeah.
So you start using the platform and weeks into it, you're like, what do you mean that's what risk score is? Huh? I thought it was something else entirely. Well, more fool you.
Yeah.
But this should all be explained from the word go.
Yeah.
So that there's no incorrect assumptions and then people don't get annoyed when reality bites. As a broadcaster yourself of some renown and experience, have you any advice for a newbie like me as to what other areas I can discuss on Copytraders Club?
No, I think, based on what we've just gone through and the other videos that I've seen, I think you're on the right tracks. Having a deep conversation with the PIs, Copytraders, and eToro staff is a giant step forward, and it's not something where you're just looking at the stats and figures, and it can't necessarily fulfill that when you're just looking at a screen and numbers. So having a good chat with them, I think, is a brilliant idea.
Well, thank you for saying that, and it's been very illuminating to chat to you today.
Thank you.
Like I say, I love your channel. I watch your videos. I always get a good chuckle. They're very good, and it's fun to watch people learn in real time, and it challenges me to understand whether I really know these issues as well as I think I do.
Yeah. I mean, we've always got something to learn.
I think it's healthy that there's a network of commentary outside of the eToro platform.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so I think part of it is that, as you were saying, if they had this video guide at the beginning and it held your hand going through it, even if they had that, I still think it's good and healthy to have the commentary that you have. But I think at the moment, because it lacks that, easy to follow guide at the beginning and other small aspects, I think it's even more important right now to have this community with all the podcasts and videos out there, just to fill in the blanks for the new people.
New people and not so new people. As you say, there's always something to learn.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, Stephen, it's been fantastic. Thank you very much for talking to us here today.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. And hopefully I'll come back on again one day when I've learned more lessons.
When you've made your millions, that's when.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, Stephen. Best of luck.
Thank you very much. Take care, Gavin.
Many thanks to Stephen, whose videos can be seen on his YouTube channel, Moth Copytrading. As we discussed, they are well-made videos, bravely chronicling all the ups and downs on his eToro journey, and all delivered with his unique comedy stylings. For anyone relatively new to the platform, I would recommend checking them out. The next episode is a regular solo episode, at the end of which I will reveal the next 2 exciting guests. And they are exciting. Until next time we meet at Copytraders Club, I wish you many happy returns. Obviously, anything you hear in this podcast is for entertainment only, not financial advice. Do your own research. This is just generic chit-chat. We don't know your individual circumstances, etc., and so forth.